Welcome back to Sash Fabrics. Jessica here, and today I'm going to give you my list of the things that I feel are necessities when you're sewing. And these aren't necessarily necessities just for sewing knits or just for sewing wovens. These are just my general, I use these every time I sew things. So one of the first things I use a lot is a quilting ruler. I use this when I'm tracing things that I need level. I use this when I'm using my rotary cutter. This is like my go-to use for everything board. This is my 6x12. I have a 3x18. I have a 6x24. I have an 8.5x24. I use them for everything. And I love the Omnigrid ones. There's the name. I love the Omnigrid ones because I love that they are bright yellow. As you can tell by this one, it's kind of scratched up because I use it so much. These are just the bee's knees. In connection with that, I also like using my Omnigrid cutting board, which I can't get a picture of right now because it's covered with stuff. But the Omnigrid cutting boards have been holding up great for me. The one I have, I want to say, is like 2.5 years old or somewhere in there, and it's doing great. So Omnigrid ruler, I love my Omnigrid cutting mat, and my favorite rotary cutter is actually my Fiskars. I have the Omnigrid too, and I use it about the same when I'm sewing with my mom, but I tend to grab my Fiskars just because I like that the lock is just a slide down and it's open. Okay, now the downside of that, and the thing that I do like about the Omnigrid brand, the Dritz brand rotary cutter, is that its lock kind of semi stays in place. So like when it's unlocked, if you push on the little safety thing, it'll still cut you, but you've got like, I guess, a double backup barrier, so that's really cool. But you definitely want a rotary cutter. 45mm is the one you're going to want first. I do also own 60mm, and whatever the next smallest is, I think it's 15, but 45 is where it's at. Okay, so that's for my cutting with a rotary cutter, but I also use scissors for a lot of my things. Like the rotary cutter is really handy and nice to have, but nothing beats a good pair of scissors. So this is my Omnigrid scissors. I've had these guys for 5 years now, and they are still going strong. I cut a lot of fabric and a lot of fleece with them, and they've been doing great. And the number one thing you want to remember anytime you have a pair of sewing scissors is only use them for sewing. Don't use them for fabric. I've managed to successfully teach my 5 kids and my husband not to use these for anything except for fabric. So scissors, must have. Okay, another must have is thread trimmers. So this is one of my favorite types. You can get ones like these really cheap at your local sewing stores, and they're awesome because you don't have to put your fingers in to cut your threads. You just grab on and snip. So these are great. I don't even know. These ones are just like a random off-brand from Amazon, but I love them. We have like 10 pairs in here. Get them. Okay. Now, anytime you are tracing patterns, I use a lot of PDF printable patterns, so they're not very thick, and even if you use the tissue paper pattern from the store, again, they're not very thick. You want to hold them down. Pattern weights. Okay, these purple ones in my hand are Dritz brand. I love, 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 love these guys. I've used them so much that my other 2 developed holes and had to be retired, so I need to get some more of these guys. I love, they're super heavy, and being that they're fabric, they don't slide around, so these are great. Okay. Another favorite is you can make your own out of washers, ribbon, and hot glue. Boom. Pretty. Heavy. I love that these ones are big and flat, so I use these ones a lot of times when I need something to take up a lot of surface space. So those are great. Good. Now, when it comes to tracing on patterns, there's a lot of options out there when it comes to sewing specific pens, but the thing I find with a lot of the sewing specific pens is they dry out really, really, really fast. So I have 2 different favorites, okay? One of my favorites is if it's something that you know is going to be completely hidden on the finished product, Sharpie. You cannot go wrong with a Sharpie. It's permanent, so be careful when you trace, but it's going to show up each and every time, and they last a long, long, long time. They also color on pretty much anything. So, Sharpie. And I have these in like a million colors here. Okay, so one of my next favorites, and I use this thing for things like cloth diapers that, you know, if I'm serging or something, maybe part of my finished product is going to be visible. These wash out. Make sure to get the ultra clean washables. Do not just get the regular ones because they will not wash out and you will be very mad. So this one I tend to grab before the Sharpie a lot of times just because if I mess up, oh well. Okay. So next, of course, you have to have lots and lots of thread colors when you sew. So get a million freaking bobbins. Like, I have to have at least 30 of bobbins for my machine, and those are special sized ones for my faff. So yeah, I have, this thing is full of bobbins, and I also love this case. And there's a bunch of different brands. This one's my Singer case. I also have a Dritz bobbin case with my other machine. And I actually really like my Dritz one because it holds a lot more threads in it, which, you know, more thread colors, more bobbins, more pre-filled bobbins, the way to go. And it's very typical that I'll have 3 black and 3 white filled and have backup sitting next to my machine. So fill all the bobbins. One of the last must-haves is these guys. So first we have our 1.5 inch sewing pins, and it's really hard to see on this, but these guys have big balls on the end. These are by Dritz. They come in a couple different colors. They're ballpoint. I love these giant balls on the end because they're very, very easy to grab. And I love how long these pins are because they actually grip onto everything. So these ones are great because you can use them with knits, with wovens, you name it, these are it. So then we have the pin cushion that these are on. This is my Dritz pin cushion. I love the magnetic pin cushions because if you drop pins like I did during this video, when I'm done, I'll be able to just bend over and wipe this over the floor and the pins will be picked up. 5 kids, must have, easy pickup. So my last one I have, and I've got to look up for the brand for this. I think this is a Dritz product, but I just don't remember for sure. This is a point turner. And this guy is awesome. It's super heavy duty. I love how thick it is. I don't know if this will zoom in on it or not. But it's got a nice rounded edge, and then it's got a nice pointy edge. So when you're turning something, you can easily just put this into your corner and get it all the way turned and not have, like, I have a tendency to grab my scissors when I do it, and a lot of the scissors are super pointy. So you end up cutting your fabric or ripping your fabric, and we don't want to ruin our projects. So that is Jessica's list of the items that I feel are very helpful while you're sewing. You can do without some of these things, but honestly, they are not very expensive and they will make your life so much easier. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video today and look forward to seeing you next time.